Okay, if I hear already. Okay. I started late. I'm going to give people. Can you hear me, please? I think two per here if you can hear me. Mr. Kinuba Bisoyi. Let me know if you can hear me. So I'm going to give people like 5 minutes or so to join the. Hello, welcome. If you're here, we're going to start by 7:10. 10 minutes after 7, we're going to start. So let's wait for others to join us. Okay, we have my people here. This is 7:10. We're ready to start now. Okay, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. How are we doing? So, today we want to talk about VAT and tax filings. So, I'm going to make sure to try and make this class as or this conversation as detailed as possible. Now, there have been a lot of questions in time past and also due to the new tax law about how the tax process works or how do I pay tax, what's VAT, what's personal income tax, what's CIT. But in today, I'm not going to go into personal income tax. I'm not going to go into uh, how the whole tax regulation works. I'm only going to focus on VAT and CIT and getting TCC. Now, the reason why I want to narrow that down is because as we are dealing with a business person, like our business is more of a B2B kind of business, whether you are a trademark agent, whether you are a CAC agent, you want to help your clients to process their tax returns, you want to help them to make sure that they are not defaulting, uh, in what means that the government doesn't shut down their business because of failure to pay up or meet up with tax. So that's why you need to know about this. So I'm not going to talk about the personal income tax. We're just going to go straight forward to VAT and also to uh, CIT. We'll talk about VAT, we'll talk about CIT, and also we'll now talk about tax clearance. Now, today's teaching is going to be in two formats. First, I'm going to talk about VAT, then I'm going to talk about CIT, I'm going to talk about tax clearance. Then once I'm done with all this, I will now take you to the task commerce portal and show you, oh, this how VAT is being filed, this is where uh, CIT is being filed, this is where tax clearance certificate is gotten from. But mind you, this class is not to make you task expert. It's not to make you to be able to file this task yourself. The thing is, even though you are the owner of a business and you know how to do everything, it's always advisable to allow a tax consultant to help you out because you are going to always pay lesser when you have a tax consultant actually help you file this thing out. You understand? And the reason is because your tax consultant is going to communicate with your tax controllers. Tax controllers they are empowered to forego some particular tax payment. For example, let me use the personal income tax as an example. For the personal income tax now, if you are to pay personal income tax, what the way it works is self-assessment. That is, you are going to assess yourself and oh, in this year, this came in, that came in. I made a total of 1 million naira, and in the 1 million naira, I want to pay tax. So these are the tax that falls under 1 million naira, and this is what I want to pay for. So these are the tasks that fall under 1 million naira, and then this is the amount I'm going to pay. So once you do that, your tax controller will see that, and if your tax controller accepts, then you're fine. But if your tax controller doesn't accept, it's going to write you back that no, this according due to probably your spending history or this and that, they're not going to your controller at that point may not request for your bank statement. There's a way they are able to assess your spending history, maybe purchases that you've made, and they'll be like, oh no, not possible. Based on this and this, you should have made over this. So once your tax controller says that, you can now write back, you know, contest that no, 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 due to this and that. And all the back and forth may continue until your task controller say no, I will not accept. And then now gives right to you that compulsorily you have to pay for a deadline. After which you can now take the matter to court and all the likes. Now, why did I say all of that? The reason why I said all of that is because your task controller is important when it comes to your task filing, when it comes to everything that you do for your dashboard, from your VAT to your CIT to your TCC. Because the way it works is that you say this is what is being made. For example, when filing CIT, some people may have like three, four corporate accounts. They are only going to produce the statement of all corporate accounts. Some tax controller may take it in and be like, okay, let's just work with it. But some will not allow and reject it, claim that, okay, you've been doing so amount and actually give you, okay, this is the particular figure you are going to pay. That's why tax controller is very, very important. So the reason why I went around saying all of that is that because I'm going to show you where to run this thing or how to run it. I'm not going to go into details of the how. I just want you to understand the processes. Does not mean that you have to just have to go there and I need to file this, I need to do this, I need to do that. Now, another thing that is cogent is that in years past, someone is saying they can't hear me. I hope it's just that person. I hope it's just that person. Please, if you can hear me, just comment in the chat box that you can hear me. So I know it's not everybody, it's just that particular person. Okay, I'll just continue believing that everyone can hear me. Okay, okay. Someone said you can hear me louder. Okay, so please check your network. Okay, so in time past, I'm trying to just give before I go into the full details. So while we wait for others to join us. So in time past, in time past, if you've not filed your tax performance, they will not start charging you for that. So it's when you file your tax performance that they now start charging you. For example, let's say your business was registered in 2020 and it's just 2025 that you just enroll on tax programs. They're not going to charge you for 2020, for 2021, for 2022, for 2020. They're not going to charge you at all. It's when you now enroll on tax programs that they will start charging you. IFRS start saying, okay, you have to pay, maybe you qualify for VAT, you have to pay VAT, you have to pay CIT and the likes. But now it's a different ball game. If you registered in 2020 and you did not enroll for 2020 to 2025, by the time you later enroll, all the tax payments for all the years you've left, you have to pay for it. So right now, it's like there's no escape. You didn't pay for 2022, for 2020, for 2021, for 2022 because you've not enrolled on tax payments. Now you now enroll on tax payments. You think all those years are gone. They're not gone. They're going to pay for it. So it's different. So, well, at times, there are ways task controllers, task consultants can help you with all of this. So that's why it's very important that you don't just feel that I have the knowledge, oh, let me just jump in and do this job myself. So that's extremely important. So now, to our topic for today, the request that people made is to talk about VAT and tax filing. So I'm just going to talk about VAT. So let me share my screen. Please, can you see my screen? Let me see. Okay. Now, I believe we can all see my screen. I will use the way I could get feedback if you guys can see my screen. Okay, so my people said they can see my screen. So let's move ahead. Uh Now I want to talk about the value added task. Now, value added task is a consumption task charged on the value added to goods and services at each stage of production and distribution, and it is ultimately borne by the final consumer. Simply put, okay, I'm being told that I cannot see my screen, but right now, okay, so let me reshare my screen. I need to know if you can see my screen now. Oh, oh, screen now is still. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead without sharing my screen. I don't know. You guys can just hear me. So please just follow me. Because you're not seeing my screen, just follow me, please. I actually have a slide for it. I don't know why you're not seeing my screen. So now please just follow me. Just follow me because you can't see my screen. Just follow me, please. So value added tax is a consumption tax charged on the value added to goods and service. So is a consumption tax added on the value of goods and service, and it is added at each stage of production and distribution. And this value added tax is borne by the final consumer. So that is VAT is tax that you pay when you buy any goods or service that is taxable. So if you buy any goods or service that is taxable, you are going to pay VAT on it. But it's not all goods and service that is taxable. Raw materials generally are not taxable because there's no, it's just normal farming products are not taxable. But that particular those farming products, when you now convert that farming product and you add value to it, it becomes taxable. Now, VAT is not just charged singly. For example, let's say I'm a cocoa farmer, I sold my cocoa, I will not pay VAT on it. But the company that buys the cocoa, if they are converting it to Bonfita, or they are going to be charged VAT. Now, when they now sell it to the wholesaler, they are going to charge VAT. When the wholesaler sell it to the retailer, they're going to charge VAT. When the retailer sell it to the final consumer, they're going to, what's it called, charge VAT. So the VAT majorly is actually borne on the final consumer because the retailer is going to add, the wholesaler is going to add VAT. The company that is producing is going to add VAT to the wholesaler. The wholesaler is going to add VAT to the retailer. So now when the retailer is now adding VAT, it's adding all the costs from the producer to the wholesaler, and for him, adding everything together and charging the final consumer. So that's why I said that VAT is borne by the final consumer. That's why some particular goods are expensive because VAT from the first person to the second person to the third person, they keep charging VAT and then is borne by the final consumer. I believe you understand that. Now, there are several laws that are being that have been placed in the 2025 new tax law that supports VAT. So I just paraphrase some of the parts. One is the section 146 that said it defines that when the supply is taxable in Nigeria, goods, service, and right are taxable if present, used, or exploited in Nigeria. That is, if a good is being imported into the country, VAT, even though it was not, the initial value added was not in the country, but once it enters the country, VAT will be charged on it. And how much is VAT? The VAT is 7.5%. VAT is 7.5%. That is, if a particular let's say bonfit that I'm talking about, let's assume it is 1,000 per sachet. That means VAT is going to be 7.5% of 1,000, which is what, 75 naira. Is it clear? So VAT is 7.5%. Now, VAT is 7.5% and is expected to be paid monthly. So, for example, if the total amount of goods, maybe you sold 10 goods this month that have VAT applied on it, you are supposed to remit that money at the end of the month. Now, you are required to pay them, you are required to remit it monthly, and legally is either you remit it at the end of the month or before the 10th day of the following month. For example, the VAT for the month of February is going to be due, or you are going to pay penalty for it if you don't pay it on Tuesday. That means you are expected to pay it between the end of the month and the 10th day of the following month. I don't know if that's clear. I wish I can get a response to know. This class is something that should be uh one where I can get feedback easily, so I know if you are following me. Maybe we have a class better on Google Meet where I can easily get your reactions to what I'm explaining, because right now I'm not getting feedback and I'm not sure if you guys are really following me. Okay, I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue though. Now, please, if you have any question, please prepare your question. If you have any question, prepare your question. And if you have any, let me see. Well, if you have any questions, send it to the group. Any of the groups that you are. If you have any questions, send it to any of the groups that you are, or send it directly to the major line or any of the support. They are going to forward it to me. So please, if you have any questions, so that at the end of this class, I can address those questions. Now, some now there are some part, even though VAT is a value added tax that okay, once you process something, you have to pay tax on it. There are some aspect, there are some businesses that are exempted from VAT. Now, some of the businesses exempted are oil and gas exports, crude, petroleum oil, processed gas, goods that are purchased for use of uh, humanitarian donor or maybe for funded projects, NGO. Maybe you are NGO, you purchase any goods, you are not required to pay VAT on it. So as an NGO, you go and you purchase a particular good from a supermarket and you want to add VAT, you can tell them to exempt you of the VAT. And they, so when they want to file it, they are going to file it that you are exempted from the VAT. Also, baby products, locally manufactured sanitary towel pads or tampons, military hardware, arms and ammunition, uh, shared passenger road transport service, purchase, hire, rental, lease of tractor, plows and other equipment, and a whole lot export from export products. So uh, these are list of business that are exempted from VAT. Land, buying of land, building, good or service supplied to a diplomatic mission, plays and performance, artistic works, basic foods, locally produced agricultural chemicals, fertilizers, animal feeds, livestock. So, and a list of other. I wish you could actually see my screen because there's a calculation here, there's a breakdown that's going to actually make it. That's going to make it. It's going to be difficult for you to understand this without seeing my screen. Okay, someone say it's cleared. I don't mean. Do you mean you can see the screen now? So I need to check if I can if I can show my screen on if I can show my if I can show my search bar. So if I can't show my search bar, we'll have to postpone this class because I need to show you guys the task boomers. Okay, I need to show you guys the task boomers. Please, can you see my screen? Let me check. Can you see my screen now? Oh, I think I might be making an error. Okay. Can you see my screen now? I think you should be able to see it now. The so okay. So we've already gone far, but I'm going to try as much as possible to go to the VAT again. So, uh, as I said earlier, value-added tax is consumption tax that is charged on the value added to goods and service. So, these are some laws that support uh, VAT in the new tax law. So, I've talked about the one that has to do with foreigners. Then the set rate for VAT is still 7.5%. Now, I'm only picking out what is very, very important for you and for your client. So your client is expected to file before the 10th day. Once they don't file on the 10th day, they are going to pay fine. And I think it's usually about 25,000 they are going to pay as fine. So these are the list of businesses that are exempted, but they don't have to pay VAT. Now, I'll try to explain how VAT. Now, the producer VAT is being paid in stages, and it's being paid by, and the final VAT is borne by the consumer. For example, the producer, as I said the other time, the producer will pay 7.5%, let's say 1,000 naira, will pay 7.5%, which is 25 naira on it. So at the end, the producer is going to charge uh, the wholesaler 175,000. So once it charge 175 naira, the manufacturer is going to bill the what's called the wholesaler. The wholesaler is going to add it to what is going to charge the retailer. And finally, the retailer is now going to put it on what's going to charge the consumer. So for example, let's say the cost of making a product is 1,000 naira. So by the time the manufacturer had his own, the wholesaler had his own, the retailer had his own, you can see that at the end, the wholesaler will be paying about over more than necessary. So you understand. So that's just an explanation of how VAT works. So Having talked about that, I want to take you to the tax format website to see how VAT is being filed. So this is the tax format website. I'm going to take you to this is my company account. So, using this page, I'm going to explain everything that has to do that you need to know for your for your client, and for yourself. I'm going to explain to you using this page. Now, I've explained what VAT means. Now, I about CIT. I think let me talk about CIT a little bit. Now, CIT is company income tax. So, company income tax before used to be 30%. But now, according to new tax law, company income tax is now 25% that you pay. Who are expected to pay? Oh, sorry. There's something I skipped concerning VAT. Let me just say it now so I don't miss out. Now, apart from all these companies that are expected to pay VAT, if a company is making above 100 million naira, even though they don't qualify for VAT, they are expected to file for VAT. They'll file it as new because they don't qualify. So there's a way they put as in when we get to when we don't get to this part, I'm going to explain how it's been done. So, but even though they don't qualify, they are still expected to file it. Same also apply for CIT. For company income tax, you only qualify for company income tax if you are doing 100 million and above. So even if you are not doing 100 million and above, you are still expected to file company income tax. That is, we say, oh, I'm not doing 100 million above, but how will we know you are not doing 100 million above? So you still need to produce your bank statement and to show that, okay, I'm not doing up to 100 million in income. Now, company income tax is based on the income that that your clients are making or that you are making. So it's not about revenue. So that's why I always say that you need a tax consultant. But a tax consultant is also going to help you because there are also some tax cuts. For example, let's say you are making 100 million on dot, like that's what came in 100 million. There are some tax gain that you get. There's payee, the amount that you used in paying salary that you have to remove. There is assets. There's an amount based on asset that you have to remove. There's something they call withholding tax. A lot of things that you have to remove. That by the time you are done removing all of that, your revenue may not actually be up to 100 million. And if your income is not actually up to 100 million, then you may not pay any tax. You may not pay anything on CIT. That's why even though you may see all of these processing, it's still better for you to let a tax consultant actually help you in paying your tax. It's actually going to save you more than what you think was good. It will save you from doing it yourself because they have more experience. Okay, so now let me talk about this. Once you come to this page, for you to have this page, you must have done your tax premise. For you to have this page, you must have done your tax performance. And I used to advise you don't just do tax performance anyhow. Like you don't even know your tax controller, you don't, or the person that did tax performance for you. For example, there are some people that, as I said earlier, for those who joined early, when it comes to paying tax, it all depends on your tax controller. It all depends on your tax. Your tax controller can stress you and can actually make things easy for you. So it's very important that when you're filing tax form, you file it to places whereby you have people that can assist you on. For example, for those that will file tax forms on, we file tax forms for them in Abuja, which is because we know most of the tax controllers in Abuja. So we file it to places whereby we know the tax controllers very well. So that if you want to pay your tax, it's going to be easy for you. So it's going to be easy to work around it, to give you uh cut where necessary, so you don't have to pay FT tax. And there's a lot of things that they have to do based on their discretion. And as we know, from time immemorial, tax controllers, tax officers, they get cut on whatever amount you pay as tax. They get a cut. That is, if you are charged, if you pay 10 million naira, there's a cut. There's the FRS is going to give your tax controller a token for the money you paid apart from your salary. So that's why tax controllers are always doing their job. We all know of Zacchaeus in the Bible, of how he is always how rich he is. So if you see anybody that works at FIRS that's in charge of revenue, just know that person is very, very rich. So tax controllers, they're always very rich, because if they get one if they have a big company that's paid a billion naira, even if you're getting 1% or 10% of that, you know how much that is. So it's important that you know your tax controller. So now, this is my page, the page for my company, for Scalingideas Nigeria Limited. And now we have this page because we've already done tax payments. So this is our tax ID. Now this is the front page. Now on this page is when the taxes that you should have paid, that are due, that should have paid. Now you can see tax due 2. Now before it was tax due 1, but apparently I have defaulted for last month. I have defaulted for last month VAT, and I've not filed it. You can see past due. And then I defaulted for the one of January, but the one of February I have not defaulted. So once it is 10th of March, I would have also defaulted for this. So, and the reason for paying, you need to pay VAT and also pay CIT for you to pay tax clearance. So tax clearance means that you've already cleared all the tax that you are expected to pay as a company. Now, if it's a new company, you can easily get tax clearance certificate. That's why for those that have new companies or companies that were done less than 6 months, we can easily help them get tax clearance certificate, especially if they are not due for VAT. Now, the reason why I am to pay VAT is because there's consulting in my business, in my company. So if in your company members there's nothing like consulting and the likes, then you're free. You don't have to pay VAT. So I have to pay VAT. That's why you are seeing all of this. So I'm going to take you through the process. For example, let's say I want to pay for this. Now, I can't pay for this because I have a past due date. Now, say I want to pay for this now. Now, so you have to return the currency, whether it's Naira, well, because some people sell in USD, in Euro, in pounds, and then they have to remit. As I told you the other time, it's not only a business that are done in Nigeria, business outside the country too that are importing here, they are also expected to pay VAT. Now, there's a sample file. Let me show you the sample file so you can see. So you can see this sample file. Now you can see the sample file or what's it called on the VAT that you're expected to pay. Here you get. Can you see? So now see, note for status shown, 0 means it is vatable. 0 means it is vatable. 1 means it is zero rated. Why? 2 means it is what? It is exempt from tax. No, this is because right here, baby diapers, and this is a little bit scattered because baby diapers, as I showed you earlier, baby product are exempted from tax. So this one now is exempted from tax. This one now they are vatable, school bag, vatable. So this is the way it's going to be listed for you to upload. Let's go back to now. Once you can always come here to watch a video on how to what's it called submit your returns, but we're not going to we're not going to go into that. So basically, this is the process by which you use in actually paying your VAT. Now, apart from VAT, you may need okay. There's also something called group VAT. For example, we have big companies that actually uh that pay VAT for people. The way it works. For example, let's say when you use when you use MTN, when you call at times, you can see they'll say VAT this and that. So some people they pay, some of these big companies they pay VAT in bulk, like they pay it for individuals and like that. They don't need to now pay VAT. So they come and they pay it here under withholding VAT. That is, they withhold the VAT for you so that they can now pay it. You understand? So they are the one that now do the payment. So this is where that is being done. So this place where you actually pay your company income tax. As I said earlier, company income tax, it's if a company is doing 100 million and above, that's when they have to pay the company income tax. And it's currently 25%. Now I don't qualify for company income tax, even though I'm still going to like once I clear up my VAT, I'm going to file it here and then apply for my TCC. So once I'm done paying my VAT, once I'm done paying my uh, CIT, I can now come here and process my tax clearance certificate. See now I can't process it because I'm not done. I have not done this and this. So once I do this and this, I'll be able to process my tax clearance certificate. So majorly, these are the things that you need to know. So your tax wallet is the amount of tax you've paid so far, how you've been paying it, and all the whole likes. So that's what tax wallet is all about. See, there are no currently no records in your wallet because, yeah, I just filed my tax return to start paying because of the new tax law. Because of this new tax law, if they decide to enforce it, you're not going anywhere. According to this new tax law, you can actually go to jail for not paying your tax. Yeah. So FIs have been empowered to really, really enforce this new tax law. So, as a business, for you to also advise your clients, it's just important for you to get your TCC close to yourself because when it comes to tax, the default fee you are going to pay is more expensive than the tax payment itself. The default fee is more expensive than the tax payment itself. That's why it's important that you actually pay in time. So I'm going to give room for questions. I'm already feeling like I'm all alone here. So the next class we are going to have it on uh we are going to have it on so yeah, please if you have any question you can ask here and or ask on the group. I want to start attending to questions now. So maybe there's some I only talked about CIT, VAT, and TC because those are the questions that we've been getting. So if you have any other question, anything you want me to clarify, or any area I talked about that you're not clear on, please just indicate so I can talk extensively on it. Now, when you ask questions on the group, it may not be easy to go into details, but now I want to go into details of how everything is being done. So please, if you have any questions, please ask. So I can. Uh, okay, I'm going to give 10 minutes for people to ask questions. Okay. Someone asked when the real estate start paying tax. Let's keep the questions coming in. Does that mean that we all understand everything I've explained? You understand about VAT now, how the whole tax filings? I'm actually expecting to have more questions. That's why I didn't take so long explaining. So okay. Okay. Let me pick the first question. When do real estate start paying tax? Okay. When do real estate start paying tax? Now, I'm going to share the training slide. I still need to do some minor edits on the training slide. Then I'll send it. I'll send it to you because I don't. The slide has everything on tax. So, but I just want to give you guys the VAT and CIT part because if I give you everything, it's just going to be clumsy. You're not going to really understand. So, I just want to give you the VAT part. I'm only going to give you the VAT part and then the CIT part that is needed. So yeah, I can see all the questions. If you have other questions, keep sending them in. I'm going to start from the person that said, when do a real estate consultant start paying tax? Now you need to know that if you have a business name or if you are running a business and what you're registered for is a business name, you're in trouble because you are going to pay every tax. You're going to pay every tax because you are going to be charged as an individual. And you know the breakdown for individual, the amount that you pay as tax. By the time you are making about 25 million as an individual, by the time you are making about 20 million as an individual, you are paying about 25%. Though before you can pay 25%, you are making way above 20 million because there are still some tax concession that you're going to be given. Tax for what's it called? Concessions on rent, concessions on different things. But you're still going to pay every tax. Let's say you're making 25, you are making 20 million, for example. You can be paying 25%. Let's assume 25%. And if you're paying 25% on 20 million, you know how much that is. But if you are registered as a company, if I registered as a company, that same 20 million, you may not pay any tax whatsoever, especially if you don't qualify for VAT. So when you start paying tax, depend on whether you're a business, you are doing it on your name, or you actually have a company to which you're actually doing your real estate consultancy. Now, if you are doing it based on the company, then all you have to do is to pay your CIT if you qualify. Now, real estate companies do not. I think they are exempted uh, from VAT. But now, you said you are a real estate consultant. So once you're a consultant, you pay VAT. So that means you also have to pay VAT, which is 7.5% of what you get. Which is 7.5% of what you get. So you be expected to pay VAT. So as soon as your company is registered, as soon as the company is registered, you're supposed to start filing VAT. Okay. You want to know the difference between VAT and CIT? Have explained. VAT is value added tax. So these are the tax that is being paid based on consumer products or services. So it's 7.5%. So it's cost, for example, let's say you sell shoes, for example, or you are a consultant. Well, after charging the person, you are going to charge VAT. You are going to add VAT to the charges that you are charging the person. And that VAT that you have that you added, you're now expected to remit that VAT to the government. So it's the consumer that pay the VAT, not really you. That's why you make transfers from your bank. And after you transfer to your bank, you now see normal transfer charges, you now see VAT charges. That VAT charge that the bank has adopted, the bank is going to remit it to the government. Now, why CIT is company income tax, as I've been saying, is you pay it at the end. Whereas you pay VAT every month, you pay CIT at the end of the year. So at the end of the year, you submit your statement, they are going to check it out and see how much you are owing for the year, and then you are not going to pay tax on that amount. So someone whose business was registered 2 years ago or more, is there any penalty? Before you, as I said earlier, before you may not have to pay, there may not be any penalty for you. But now, according to the new tax law and the new transport and the tax permanent website, all those years that you've been defaulting, you may have to pay uh tax on it, because it's not going to just be a fresh page. They are going to check out since registration, since you've registered, that's what they are going to check the date. But if it was a business team, you have nothing to worry about. But if it was a company, it's from the inception of that company to date. Yeah, it's going to file CIT at the end of the year. So what I would advise you to do is tell that your client to apply for TCC. It first hold the TCC that, okay, I'm clear. She understand. So once OTC I'm clear, then you know you have something to worry about still the next year. That's for the electrical works and construction. Let him just get his tax clearance. Now that it's just registered, just first get your tax clearance certificate. It's easy to get your tax clearance certificate when you just registered. Nothing much to pay. Yeah, I've explained those that qualify for VAT and those that don't. I'm going to send what's it called a list of those that qualify for VAT, but I believe I sent to the group before. No, you cannot file tax. You cannot file for client because you don't know. You are not yet a tax consultant. What I'm telling you now is just for you to have enough knowledge for you to talk to your client and guide your client. You don't have enough for you to uh, file it yet. You need for business that was for business that registered last year and have not been onboarded on tax performance. Is there is there penalty for it? Uh, According to the new tax law, it's like they are going to review it from the month of registration to date. But if you do tax formats, maybe they are not going to incur penalty on it. And at times, I told you, most of these things depend uh, on your tax controller. After you register a company, uh, let me say a year after, you can start you have to start paying tax a year after. But most times, people say 18 months because, for example, let's say my company was registered in July. At the end of the year, even if I've made on them, you may not really expect to pay what's it called CIT. But for the following year, January to December, then I have to pay CIT. So I'm going to say 18 months. But after a year, you should already start preparing to pay tax. No, even if your company is not making up 200 million, you still pay tax. Even if your business is not making up 200 million, so you still pay VAT. Still pay VAT. It doesn't matter, even if you're not making up 200 million. Now, if you're not making above 100 million, whether you qualify for VAT or not, you are expected to file it. For example, now, okay, I'm not making up 200 million a year. You understand? But I showed you my screen for those where I've already defaulted for my VAT. You understand? So to show you that I'm qualified, I'm not the one that went to my tax format website and punched it in that I want to pay. You understand? So once they saw my information here automatically, you understand? So you are going to pay VAT. It's not the when you are doing up to 100 million, you are going to pay VAT. Yeah, once you've paid your, for the person that asks that where to apply for TEC, once you paid your VAT and then you've paid your CRT, you'll be able to get your TCC and load it straight. Okay, so your question is on the VAT of the telecom company. When the VAT, how does it affect? Now, if VAT is being withheld, is the company that is withholding the VAT that is going to pay it. You have no business with that. Do you understand? Is the person that is withholding the VAT is the one that is going to pay the VAT, is the one that is going to file it. Any other question before we close? Someone asks that if a customer asks about us, should we tell them to do task format first? Before you can do anything, you have to do task format. There's no way you can file for VAT, CIT, or whatever, or get CC without getting tax formats. So tax formats is the very, very first step. When a customer comes to you about tax, the very first step that they have to take is getting on tax formats. So I'm going to wait till 8:20. If you don't have any question, we are going to call it a day. Yeah, you need a consultant to pay it for you, but you can also file it for yourself. You need a consultant to pay for you, but you can also file it for yourself. Well, there's some products you don't pay VAT on, and like so, you usually need a consultant to file it for you, so you don't pay more than you should. Yeah, it might be at the end of the year, but maybe not. You may not need to pay TCC at the end of the year. You not like you don't your TCC can be gotten at any time. For example, now if I pay my VAT right now, I've voted for a VAT. If I pay that VAT now, I'm going to be able to get my TCC immediately. That means I've cleared. So at any point in time that you clear, for at any point in time that you clear your what you have to pay, you will get your TCC. So it doesn't actually need to be at the end of the year. You understand? It doesn't have to be at the end of the year. Anytime you clear your tax, your VAT, your CIT, any tax you are due for, you can get your TC. It's not at the end of the year. At any time. So, uh, okay, for the one that have that, when the real estate consultant start paying tax, I've already answered that. It all depends whether it's a company or it's a business name. So if it's a company that you've registered, then of course you need to start as a real estate consultant. What of the consultation that means you're due for VAT? You need to start paying VAT. You understand? You need to start paying VAT, and then after at the end of the year, you need to file for CIT. Whether you make above 100 million or not, you need to file for CIT. You are filing for CIT, you are not paying. You file CIT, you produce your bank statement that, oh, I did not make up to this, I make up to this. You understand? So you need to file for CIT. Now, when it comes to knowing if you qualify for CIT or not, it goes beyond just it goes beyond just saying I do this, I do that. The consultant will need to go to your MEMAT. The consumer will need to go to your memo to know that okay, you don't qualify. You don't. It's not just by one word that you did. Maybe you say you are into real estate, but by the time you check your memo, there are a lot of things about real estate consultancy, a lot of things about uh, goods and service, a whole lot of other things. You understand? So even if you don't do all those things at the end of the month, and there's no payment, you're still going to have to file for it. It's like even if you don't, for example, maybe you are selling goods and this month you did not sell any of those goods, you still have to file for VAT. So that okay, I did not sell anything, no. Call it null VAT. You're still going to have to do that. Yeah, you can always walk up to any of your MSTO and file it there. Any task office and say you want to file tax from us, you can always do that. Okay, so I think we've had a nice run. I'm going to wait this 8:16. I'm going to wait 4 more minutes and see if there's anybody that has any more question. for 4 more minutes to see if there's anybody that has more question. Okay, there's the question here. A company that was registered this month, when will they start paying VAT? VAT is value added tax. It's not something that it's something that you pay month in, month out. So once you register this month and you start next, you can start paying for the following month because it's based on the value. Like once you're selling, you are paying VAT, you are to be charging your customer for VAT and they're paying the VAT. You understand? So as soon as possible. So it was nice having everyone. Once we have, what we'll do next time is once we have a lot of questions, I'll ask support to collect the questions. So when I'm coming, I will just address the questions and then we'll be done. And then maybe next time we're going to use Google Meet instead of YouTube, so people can talk, not just type. Someone asked if that's what was done in Abuja. Yeah, right now anybody can just log on. You can log on to what's going and do it. It can be done anywhere. As you can see, I log on to my page and I'm about to do the filings. So even if you're in local job, you can do it. You can do it anywhere. Do you understand? You can do it anywhere. You can reach out to your task controller. You can do it. Doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter. So I think I've answered the question. It doesn't matter where you are. It's general. The portal is there. Do you understand? The portal is there. Just give you a plus if you know your task controller. It can be you can do it and your business can be in Shokoto. It's not like before that uh each state now it's going to the federal government. There's no it's just like they're going to pay me money. Hmm? And I have people all across the states to collect the money from last the money is still going to my pocket. So last the money is still going to the federal government. So it doesn't matter whether it comes to Abuja or it comes to Lokoja, it comes to whatever, it still goes to the federal government. You understand? So I think I've attended to that. Okay, as long as I'm a how will I know the total amount to pay for VAT? If I say a consultant, okay, based on how much you charge your clients, you must be able to add VAT to what you charge your clients, what you charge for your services. Most of us don't. We just say that we don't owe VAT and the likes, but you're expected to charge. You see most online consultants, even some people that sell courses, they will add it to it. The sell course of 10,000 naira, they will add VAT to it. So we've had a good run. We've had a good run. So I believe I've answered all our questions. Thank you very much for coming tonight. If you have any question, you can ask on the group and then I'll ask our support to compile it. Then a day like this, we'll answer everything in details. That's if I don't answer immediately. Thank you very much for tuning in.